Hey warriors, you are not tired because life is hard. You are tired because you have been carrying weight that was never yours to carry. Think about it. You wake up in the morning, and before your feet even hit the floor, your mind is already moving, already running through last night's conversation, already replaying that comment someone made 2 days ago, already building a mental case about something that hasn't even happened yet, already thinking about what people think, already loading up opinions, judgments, worries, expectations, and by 9 a.m. you're exhausted, not from work, not from problems, not from life, from your own mind. This is the real crisis, and nobody talks about it directly. Most people believe their life is complicated because their circumstances are complicated. They think, if I just fix this situation, if I just solve this problem, if I just get past this moment, things will get easier. But the moment passes, and nothing gets easier. Because the weight was never about the situation. The weight is about how much mental and emotional energy you throw at situations that don't deserve it. The weight is about all the things you care about that have nothing to do with where you're actually going. Here is the uncomfortable truth, and I need you to sit with this for a second. The more you care, the harder your life becomes. Not because caring is bad, but because most people care about the wrong things. They care about things that don't move them forward. They care about things that drain them. They care about what other people think. They care about every small disruption. They care about opinions that don't matter. They care about outcomes they can't control. And all of that caring, it's not making you better. It's making you smaller. It's making you slower. It's making you easier to disturb and easier to control. You think caring makes you a responsible person. You think it means you're aware. You think it shows you take life seriously. But what it actually does, especially when it's excessive and unfocused, is it makes you reactive instead of deliberate. It makes you distracted instead of sharp. It makes you a person who responds to whatever is in front of them instead of someone who moves toward what they actually want. Niccolò Machiavelli, one of the most ruthless and clear-thinking strategists in human history, understood something that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Control is not gained by doing more. Control is gained by removing what interferes with you. That's it. That is the whole game. Dark psychology exposes this truth in an even colder way. People who want to manipulate you, people who want to slow you down, distract you, knock you off your path, they don't need to overpower you. They don't need to beat you. They don't need to be stronger or smarter. They only need to disturb you. That's it. Disturb you enough, and you'll do the rest yourself. You'll overthink. You'll second guess. You'll react. You'll spend your energy on the wrong things. You'll lose your focus. And before you know it, they never had to lift a finger because your own mind took you out. And the more you care about things that don't matter, the easier you are to disturb. This is why your life feels complicated right now. Not because reality is actually that complex. Reality is actually very simple. You make choices. You take action. You move forward, or you don't. That's all life is. But your mind is overloaded, full of noise, full of reactions, full of things you picked up from other people, other conversations, other moments, and never put down. Now, here's the shift. And this is the part I want you to really hear. When you start caring less, when you get intentional about what you give your mental energy to, something changes. Your mind gets quiet, not empty. Quiet. And quiet minds move fast. Your decisions get simple, not shallow. Simple. You stop running in circles. You see clearly. You act cleanly. Your actions get direct. You stop waiting, stop hesitating, stop preparing to prepare. You just move. And then something happens that most people can't explain. Life starts to feel lighter. Not because your problems disappear, but because you stop adding weight to them. You stop building walls out of worry and opinion and what-if thinking. You stop making your own path harder. Movement becomes faster. Control becomes natural. Not because you're forcing it, but because you got out of your own way. This is the truth. No one is telling you. An easy life is not something you build. It is something that gets revealed when you remove everything that was never supposed to be there. Machiavelli built his entire philosophy around this. Strip away sentiment, strip away the things that interfere, strip away the noise, and what's left is power. What's left is clarity. What's left is total control over your own direction. In this video, you are going to learn 10 ruthless laws. These are not motivational tips. These are not feel-good reminders. These are hard, clear principles that will strip the mental noise out of your life, simplify the way you think, and hand you back control over your own direction. Before we move forward, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose clarity. Let's get into it. Number 1. Cut mental noise. The majority of the thoughts running through your head right now are not your thoughts. They are reactions. Someone said something, you reacted. Now your mind is replaying it, analyzing it, trying to figure out what they meant, building a response, imagining what you should have said, thinking about what might happen next. And none of that, not 1 second of it, is moving your life forward. It is all noise. It is mental static that is running in the background, consuming energy and attention that belongs to your actual goals. The human mind, left unchecked, is a reaction machine. It picks up signals from the environment, opinions, criticisms, comparisons, expectations, and it turns those signals into long, looping internal conversations that never go anywhere. Machiavelli didn't waste time on noise. He was ruthless about what occupied his thinking. He understood that a general who lets enemy movements distract him from his own strategy is already losing. The same is true in your everyday life. When you stop caring about every opinion that floats past you, something immediate happens. The internal chatter drops. Not all at once, but noticeably. You stop running conversations in your head that the other person isn't even having. You stop rehearsing responses to arguments that might never happen. You stop carrying the weight of what somebody might think. And when the noise drops, thinking gets faster, cleaner, more direct. You don't need more ideas. You need fewer distractions. The smartest people in the world are not the ones with the most thoughts. They are the ones who can cut the noise and stay focused on what actually matters. Cut the noise. Start there. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Noise has no power. Number 2. Drop unneeded opinions. You do not need a stance on everything. Read that again. Most people are walking around with fully developed opinions about things that have absolutely nothing to do with their life. They have strong feelings about things they can't change, events they didn't witness, decisions made by people they'll never meet, and every single one of those opinions takes up mental storage space. Think about what happens every time you form a strong opinion about something. Your brain doesn't just file it and move on. It keeps it active. It looks for evidence to confirm it. It gets triggered when someone challenges it. It puts you in a defensive position without you even choosing to fight. You are now emotionally invested in something that doesn't affect your direction, your goals, or your life in any real way. Constant judgment about people, situations, trends, news, other people's choices, creates a specific kind of mental fatigue. It's low-grade, constant and cumulative, and most people don't even notice it because they've been running this way for so long it feels normal. Neutrality is not weakness. Neutrality is a power move. When you choose to not have an opinion on something that doesn't require one, you free up cognitive energy. Your brain has a finite amount of focused attention to give per day. The more you spend it on judgment and opinion forming, the less you have for actual execution. Machiavelli was not concerned with what was morally right in the eyes of the crowd. He was concerned with what worked, what moved the outcome in his favor. He did not spend energy on opinions that didn't serve his strategy. Ask yourself, starting today, does this require my opinion? Does it affect my path? If the answer is no, drop it. Don't form the opinion. Don't engage. Move on. You'll be surprised how much lighter your mind feels when you stop trying to have a take on everything. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My mind is selective. Number 3. Refuse emotional weight. Not every situation deserves your emotional involvement. This is hard to accept because we've been taught that being emotionally engaged means we care, and caring is good. But there's a massive difference between caring about the things that matter and picking up emotional weight from everything that crosses your path. Every day things happen. People around you have problems. The news reports on crises. Somebody treats you rudely. A plan doesn't go the way you thought. Somebody you know is making bad decisions. And all of these situations come with an invitation. Step in emotionally. React. Feel the weight of this. Make this part of your experience. And many people accept every single invitation. The result? Emotional overload. A mind so packed with the feelings of 10 different situations that it can't think clearly about any of them. A person who is constantly responding to what's happening around them and never focused on what they're actually building. Emotional overload doesn't just feel bad. It actively breaks your decision-making. Research consistently shows that when people are emotionally overwhelmed, they default to fear-based choices. They avoid risk. They freeze. They choose the path of least discomfort instead of the path that leads somewhere. A light mind makes easy decisions, not because the decisions are small, but because the mind isn't buried under emotional baggage when it approaches them. This doesn't mean you stop feeling things. It means you get selective about which situations earn your emotional energy. The things that directly affect your path, your people, your purpose, those deserve your full emotional engagement. Everything else? Observe it, acknowledge it, let it pass. You are not a dumping ground for every situation life throws at you. You get to choose what you carry. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I carry only purpose. Number 4. Ignore minor disruptions. Small things are stealing your life. Not the big crises, not the major setbacks, the small things, the minor irritations, the tiny triggers that pull your attention away from what you are doing, the small comments that live in your head for 3 hours after the conversation ended, the minor inconveniences that somehow turn into half-day emotional events. This is one of the most underestimated productivity and peace killers in modern life. Every time something small disrupts you and you react, you break your own momentum. And momentum is everything. Think about what a minor disruption actually costs you. It's not just the 5 minutes you spend reacting to it. It's the focus you lose. It's the reset time your brain needs to get back to where it was. It's the emotional residue that lingers and colors your next few hours. One small disruption, fully reacted to, can cost you an entire afternoon of quality thinking and action. Machiavelli wrote about the foolishness of leaders who allowed minor provocations to pull them off their strategy. A wise ruler, he said, does not chase every small threat. He stays focused on the objective. He lets the small things go, because the cost of reacting to every minor disruption is bigger than any single disruption itself. Ignoring small things is a skill. It feels unnatural at first because we're wired to respond to stimuli. But you can train yourself. You can notice the disruption and consciously choose not to give it your energy. You can feel the pull and let it pass. The more you practice this, the less friction you experience in daily life. Not because your environment changes, but because you stop snagging on everything that crosses your path. Small things deserve small responses. Often the right response is none at all. Number 5. Simplify your decisions. Here is why decisions become so hard for most people. They care about too many things at once. They care about what will happen if it goes wrong. They care about what people will think. They care about every possible outcome. They care about being right. They care about being seen as smart. They care about regret. They care about the 10 different variables that may or may not even be relevant. And then they wonder why it takes them 3 weeks to make a decision that should take 3 minutes. Overcaring creates complexity, not in the situation, in your mind. You manufacture complications by bringing unnecessary emotional stakes to every choice. When you detach, when you genuinely care less about the outcomes, the perceptions, and the what-ifs, the number of real variables in any decision drops dramatically. You cut through the noise and see what the decision actually requires. You ask, what do I need? What are my real options? Which one moves me forward? And you choose. This is how Machiavelli operated. He made decisions based on what was strategically sound, not on what would look good, not on what would feel emotionally safe, not on what would be universally approved. He stripped the decision down to its real elements and acted. Fewer emotional variables means faster execution, and in real life, speed of decision matters. The person who can make a solid choice quickly and move on it immediately will always outpace the person who thinks perfectly but acts slowly. Simplify your decisions by caring less about the noise around them. Focus on the core, what needs to happen, and what's the best move toward it. Everything else is distraction. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I decide, I move. Number 6. Reduce social pressure. Most people are not living their life. They are performing it. Every choice they make runs through an internal filter. How will this look? What will people say? Will I be judged for this? What does this say about me? And this filter, this constant pressure of social perception, slows everything down. It adds hesitation to decisions that should be instant. It adds second-guessing to moves that are clearly right. It adds self-consciousness to action that should be clean and confident. Other people's expectations are not a roadmap. They are a maze because they are always changing, always contradictory, and always focused on who they need you to be rather than who you actually are. Caring less about perception does not mean you become reckless or antisocial. It means you stop outsourcing your direction to a crowd that isn't walking your path. When you reduce how much you care about what people think, something powerful happens. Your choices start to align with your actual goals instead of with social approval. You move without hesitation because you're no longer waiting for a signal from the crowd. You make decisions based on your strategy, not based on managing how you appear. Machiavelli was cold and direct on this point. A ruler who governs to be loved will eventually be manipulated by that need. A ruler who governs to be effective is free to make the right moves regardless of applause. You are not here to be universally liked. You are here to build something, and the moment you stop needing the crowd's approval, you start moving at a completely different speed. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Their opinions don't steer me. Number 7. Eliminate overthinking. Overthinking is not intelligence. It is fear in disguise. When most people call themselves overthinkers, they say it like it's a personality trait, like it's just how they are. But overthinking is not a personality trait. It is a symptom of emotional overinvestment. It is what happens when you care so much about getting something right, about the outcome, about judgment, about failure, that your mind refuses to stop looping. Think about what overthinking actually looks like in practice. You're not gathering new information. You're not discovering new angles or better solutions. You're going around the same circle, the same worries, the same what-ifs, the same scenarios, over and over again, hoping that one more loop will somehow produce certainty. It won't. Certainty is not what overthinking finds. Exhaustion is. And here's the real cost. While you're in that loop, you're not acting. You're not moving. You're frozen, not by the problem, but by your emotional need for a guaranteed outcome before you take a step. Detachment breaks the loop. When you genuinely care less about whether things go perfectly, when you accept that imperfect action beats perfect inaction every time, the loop loses its reason to run. You see the situation clearly. You make the best call you can with what you have, and you move. This is a skill that gets stronger with practice. Every time you notice yourself starting to loop, and you choose to act instead, you train your brain to trust itself more and fear the unknown less. The smartest moves in history were made by people who acted before they were fully ready, not because they were reckless, but because they understood that motion creates information. You learn more from one step forward than from 1,000 mental simulations. Stop the loop. Take the step. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. Action breaks every loop. Number 8. Detach from outcomes. Fear is almost never about what is happening right now. Fear is about what you need to happen, and the terror of it not happening. When you are attached to a specific outcome, you are essentially saying, my peace depends on this going a certain way. And that is an incredibly fragile position to operate from, because life does not consistently cooperate with what you need. Circumstances shift, plans change, results don't always match the work put in. And when you are attached to a specific outcome and it doesn't arrive on schedule, the anxiety comes, the desperation comes, the emotional paralysis comes. Not because the situation is unmanageable, but because you needed something specific and you didn't get it. Detachment is not giving up. It is a profound misunderstanding of this concept that keeps people from using it. Detachment does not mean you stop trying or stop wanting things. It means you stop needing things to be a certain way in order to stay functional. You work just as hard. You plan just as carefully. You pursue your goals with full intensity. But you do it from a place of calm, because your internal stability is not riding on any one outcome. You are doing the work because the work is right, not because you are desperately chasing a guaranteed result. When the outcome doesn't attach itself to your emotions, calm action replaces emotional delay. You respond to what is real rather than reacting to what you feared. You adjust and move on rather than spiral and freeze. Machiavelli operated this way constantly. He made his best moves, but he did not collapse when things shifted. He assessed the new reality and adapted. His stability was internal, not dependent on external outcomes. Let go of the grip you have on specific results. Do the work, move toward the goal, but let go of the need to control exactly how it arrives. Number 9. Conserve your energy. Energy is your most valuable asset, not time. Energy. You can get more time by waking up earlier, by restructuring your schedule. But energy is finite per day, and most people are burning through it on things that return absolutely nothing. Emotional reactions are the biggest energy drain most people never account for. Every time you get upset, every time you get anxious, every time you feel offended and have to manage that feeling, every time you engage in an argument that goes nowhere, you spend real physical cognitive energy, the kind of energy that was supposed to go to your work, your goals, your relationships that actually matter. Think about the last time you had a pointless conflict, or the last time you spent real mental and emotional energy on a situation you had no control over. How did you feel afterward? Drained, not sharp, not focused, not in your best state. That was not free. That had a cost. And you paid it with energy that belonged somewhere else. Caring less is not passive. It is one of the most active and strategic decisions you can make. When you choose not to react emotionally to something that doesn't deserve it, you are conserving a resource. You are redirecting energy away from noise and toward signal. Concentrated energy produces stronger results. When your emotional reserves are full instead of constantly depleted, your actions carry more weight. Your focus is sharper. Your execution is more powerful. This is why some people seem to get so much done, while others are always busy but never moving forward. It is not about hours worked. It is about energy quality. And energy quality is a function of what you spend it on. Guard your energy. Not everything that demands your reaction deserves it. Not everything that gets your attention deserves it. Choose where your energy goes, deliberately, strategically, ruthlessly, and watch what happens to your output. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My energy is guarded. Number 10. Command your inner state. Most people think control means controlling the world around them, getting people to do what they want, managing situations, preventing bad outcomes, and they exhaust themselves in this pursuit because the world is not controllable. Not fully, not consistently, but your inner state. That is yours. That is the only territory you ever had real authority over. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He didn't believe a prince could control fortune. He called fortune a river that floods and changes course. What you could control was how prepared you were to respond to whatever fortune brought. What you could control was the quality of your judgment, the stability of your thinking, the sharpness of your decisions under pressure. When your inner state is stable, when nothing external can throw you into chaos, you become extraordinarily hard to manipulate. Think about what most manipulation and control tactics require. They need you to react. They need you to get emotional. They need you to need something so badly that you can be led by that need. They need you to be disturbed. But when you are genuinely stable inside, those tactics have nowhere to land. You hear them, you see them, and you don't move. Not because you're cold, but because you're centered. And here is the ultimate truth. When nothing disturbs you, nothing controls you. Not the criticism, not the pressure, not the opinion, not the disruption, not the bad news, not the unexpected setback. You see all of it clearly. You respond to what matters. You move through the rest without friction. This is not something you achieve once and keep forever. It is a daily practice, a daily choice to return to your center instead of chasing every disruption outward. A daily decision to command your own state rather than letting the environment command it for you. But with practice, it becomes your natural way of operating. And when it does, when your default state is stable, clear, and directed, your life transforms. Not because your circumstances magically become easier, but because you stop making them harder. Let me bring this home. An easy life is not a life with no problems. If that is what you're waiting for, you will be waiting forever. Problems are built into existence. They don't stop coming. An easy life is a life with less internal resistance to those problems. It is a life where your mind is not your enemy, where your thoughts are not working against your direction, where your emotions are not constantly throwing weight onto situations that don't require it, where you are not constantly fighting yourself. That is what we have been building toward in this entire video. When you care less, strategically, deliberately, ruthlessly, everything changes. Your thinking becomes simple, not because life gets less complex, but because you stop adding unnecessary complexity with your mind. You see situations for what they actually are, instead of what your fears and judgments make them. Your actions become direct. You stop the endless loops of overthinking and second-guessing. You see the path, you make the call, you move. No delay, no hesitation, no waiting for perfect conditions that will never come. Your emotions stop interfering, not because you stop feeling, but because you become the one deciding which feelings get to stay, which get to influence your actions, and which get acknowledged and released. And this is the point I really want you to hold on to. You do not become cold by doing this. Cold people are not strong. Cold people are just shut down. They've checked out from their own experience. That is not what this is. What you become is clear, controlled, precise. You are fully present, but you are the one deciding how you respond instead of just reacting to whatever comes at you. Machiavelli's most important insight wasn't about power over others. It was about power over yourself. Because the person who commands themselves commands everything that flows from them. The final Machiavellian truth is this: the one who is hardest to disturb is hardest to control, and the one who is hardest to control is free. Free to move in their own direction. Free to make their own choices without being pulled off course by noise, pressure, opinion, or fear. Free to build the life they actually want, instead of constantly reacting to the life that happens around them. That freedom is available to you. It is not a personality trait you're born with. It is a practice. It is a set of decisions made daily to cut the noise, drop the weight, conserve the energy, and stay centered. Before I let you go, if this video cut through something for you today, if it made you see something clearly that felt foggy before, hit that like button right now. Not for me. Do it because it signals to you that this information mattered, that you're taking it seriously, that you're not just watching and moving on. And if you know someone who is carrying too much mental weight right now, someone who is exhausted not from life, but from overthinking life, share this video with them, because sometimes the right message at the right moment changes the whole direction of a person's thinking. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, subscribe right now. Every video on this channel is designed to make your thinking sharper, your decisions cleaner, and your direction more powerful. This is the content that actually shifts something. Don't miss what comes next. So here is the closing idea I want to leave in your mind. Care less about what complicates your mind, and life becomes easy. controlled, and precise. Not easier in the sense that nothing hard ever happens, but easier in the sense that you stop adding weight to what is already there. You stop building walls out of worry. You stop burning your energy on noise that was never meant for you. You care about what matters. You move toward it directly. And everything else, you let pass. That is the Machiavellian way. That is the way of the person who is in control. The question is not whether you can do this. You can. The question is, will you start today? Drop your affirmation in the comments. I read them. And I will see you in the next one.